Hi, it's Alex Dean with the Hidden History Happy Hour. Thank you very much for joining us, and it's me solo today. I'm afraid Brian is out on assignment, so we're going to go straight to a story after my customary suggestion that you please like and subscribe to the podcast. You'll hear where future episodes are going to land, and indeed, it really helps us out as your intrepid storytellers. This story I'm going to tell you now is about sport, but I promise you don't have to like sport to enjoy it. It is the story of the highest ever score, a score that I promise you will never, ever be beaten. This is the story of Maurice Flitcroft. Maurice had been an ice cream man. He'd been a shoe polish salesman, a gopher, which is someone who does lots of odd jobs on a building site, and he'd been a crane operator. But with all due respect to these roles and decent tasks at which a man can spend a life of endeavor, I think they were the warm-up to his crowning achievement, which was his appearance in the qualifiers for the 1976 Open, the holiest of all golfing holies. And I don't want to be misunderstood. I'm not going to suggest that it was a miracle and he picked up clubs and had never played. He had. He'd had a go once on a field, and he'd also had a go on a beach once. He'd read a couple of articles about golf, and he had half a set of clubs, which is half a set more than I do. But his decision to enter himself as a professional in the ultimate golf tournament, the elite tournament in the world, was, I suggest, going some. See, amateurs in golf had to have an established handicap in order to play in tournaments, but professionals, until the Maurice Flitcroft rule was applied straight after the 1976 Open, did not. So Maurice simply called himself a professional and therefore circumvented any requirement to have a handicap. And he was in. Remarkably, nobody seemed to notice they'd never heard of him before and never seen him play. Once he was in, he was in. He played the entire course with his half bag of mail order golf clubs. He went round in 121 shots. This, my friends, is not a good golf score. It is, in fact, 49 over par. That is the worst score in the history of the Open by miles. What a lad. Hence me saying, of course, that this score will never be beaten, because the requirement to be professional means that no Maurice Flitcroft will ever make it to these holy heights again. Now, Flitcroft's fellow professionals, inverted commas, did not see the funny side. Indeed, many of them went bananas. Did they not realize that this was the first time that a good slice of the public had taken any interest in their game and had a new hero in it? And indeed, you might wonder, what does the word open mean to you anyway? It's about a bit like the American World Series, where they don't invite the rest of the world along. Anyway, in a similarly grumpy vein, the event organisers, the Royal and Ancient Golf Club, bound Maurice Flitcroft for life, which to me seemed a bit harsh, because he could only, of course, improve from that round. After all, how were they not to know? This was the start of a magnificent career. Anyway, the point is, the new rules to ensure that professional meant professional means that we can say that Maurice's achievement is graven in stone for all time, the highest ever score forevermore. The 1976 Open was graced by many first-class golfers. A young Seve Ballesteros, 19, first hit the scene. Indeed, there's an amazing black and white photograph you can find of a bemused, and I'll try and put it in the show notes if I can, on the website. There's a photograph of a rather bemused-looking young Seve walking in tandem with Flitcroft. As I say, we'll try and put that on the Hidden History Happy Hour website if we can track it down, and it's okay by copyright. And many fine strokes were played. Many professionals distinguished themselves. But I think for most people, that tournament is remembered for one thing: a chain-smoking crane operator from Barrow-in-Furness with chutzpah by the lorry load. A point that I will prove to you by asking you, who won the Open in 1976? The answer is Johnny Miller. But of course, you didn't know that, with no disrespect meant to Mr. Miller, whereas there's an outside chance that you'd heard of Maurice Flitcroft. His memoirs remain, to this date at least, at the time of me speaking to you on the podcast, tragically unpublished. I hope they do one day see print, not least because they include, I understand, the gem of a claim that he would have done a lot better at the Open if he hadn't left his best club in the car. But anyway, Disrupted by COVID, the long-awaited movie of Maurice Flitcroft's rise to stardom in sport is due for release sometime soon, with Mark Rylance, no less, playing our hero. And if cinemas have still survived the coronavirus disruption with which we are still dealing, at least the aftermath thereof, I will certainly go to the cinema and watch it, and perhaps I'll see you there too. Until next time, please do like and subscribe the podcast. Let us know what you think. Get in touch if you've got a story for us to tell. My new book, More Lessons from History, is doing perfectly well at the bookshops, but I can't help but notice it could do better. So do get a copy if you haven't got one yet. And until we're with you next time, cheers.